For years, Greenland was just ice and snow. Now, the world's most powerful countries all want it. Oil, trade routes, and military power are hidden beneath the ice. This frozen island could decide the future. Greenland is next. Greenland is the largest island in the world. When most people hear its name, they imagine ice, snow, and freezing winds. They think of polar bears, glaciers, and empty land. For a very long time, that is exactly how the world saw Greenland. Cold, distant, and not very useful. Very few people live there. There are no massive cities or busy factories. It does not look like a place that could shape global politics. But looks can be misleading. Greenland's importance has never been about its population. It has always been about where it is located. If you look at a world map, Greenland sits between North America and Europe. It is closer to both than most people realize. Because of the way the Earth curves, Greenland becomes a natural bridge between continents. This is why Greenland first became important during World War II. At that time, Denmark, which owned Greenland, was invaded by Nazi Germany. This immediately worried the United States. If an enemy controlled Greenland, they could use it as a base to move aircraft and ships closer to North America. To the US, Greenland was not just an island. It was a shield. So America stepped in. They built airfields, weather stations, and radar systems. They sent soldiers to protect the island from falling into enemy hands. This moment changed Greenland forever. After World War II ended, the world entered a new conflict, the Cold War. The United States and the Soviet Union became rivals. They did not fight directly, but they prepared for the possibility of war every single day. Once again, Greenland became extremely important. Because of its northern location, Greenland was one of the best places to detect incoming missiles or aircraft from the Soviet Union. Early warning mattered. If an attack was detected even a few minutes sooner, it could save millions of lives. Greenland became a giant lookout tower. The US built large military bases, including one in the far north of the island. Thousands of American soldiers lived there. Radar systems watched the skies day and night. For decades, Greenland played a quiet but critical role in global security. Do you think a place with almost no people can still control the future of the world? Tell us what you think in the comments. As long as the Cold War continued, Greenland mattered. But when the Cold War ended in the early 1990s, everything changed. The Soviet Union collapsed. The biggest threat disappeared. And suddenly, Greenland no longer seemed necessary. Military bases were shut down. Equipment was left behind. Some small towns were abandoned completely. Incredibly, entire settlements were sold for as little as $1. Once again, Greenland faded from the world's attention. Most people believed its story was over. They were wrong. What many did not realize was that Greenland had not changed. The world had. Technology advanced. Energy demand grew. Global competition increased. Slowly, countries began to look north again. Greenland's location, which once mattered for military defense, started to matter for something else: global movement. The Arctic region connects major parts of the world. Any country that can operate there gains speed, reach, and influence. Greenland sits at the heart of this region. It can support aircraft, ships, satellites, and communication systems. It can monitor airspace and sea lanes. It can act as a launch point or a warning system. Even without resources, this alone makes Greenland valuable. But the real reason Greenland returned to the spotlight was not above the ice. It was under it. For decades, thick ice made exploration difficult. The land was frozen and hard to reach. But as technology improved and ice slowly began to retreat, scientists were able to study what lay beneath. And what they found changed everything. Greenland was no longer just a military outpost or a frozen shield. It was a potential treasure chest. At this point, Greenland stopped being a forgotten island. It became a question powerful countries began asking themselves. If this place becomes important again, who controls it? And who gets left behind? This is why Greenland matters. Not because of what it was, but because of what it is becoming. Everything changed in 2008. Scientists discovered something amazing under Greenland's thick ice. They found huge amounts of oil, natural gas, and rare minerals. These are the things that power our world. Oil fuels cars, planes, and ships. Gas heats homes and powers factories. Rare minerals are used in smartphones, computers, and electric cars. In simple words, Greenland could give a country lots of energy and wealth. Some experts estimate that Greenland could have more oil than the United States currently has. Even a small amount of this oil or minerals could make Greenland incredibly valuable. But resources are not the only reason Greenland matters. The world's climate is changing. The Arctic is warming 4 times faster than the rest of the planet. Ice is melting. And as the ice melts, new sea routes are opening. These new Arctic shipping lanes are much shorter than traditional routes through the Suez Canal or the Panama Canal. A ship traveling from Asia to Europe could save weeks on the journey. And guess what? Greenland sits right in the middle of these routes. This means Greenland is not just about oil and minerals. It is also about trade and power. Any country that controls Greenland could influence global shipping and trade. In the future, controlling Greenland could help a country move goods faster, save money, and gain a strategic advantage. However, Greenland itself has made a choice. In 2021, the Greenlandic government decided to ban new oil and gas exploration. They said drilling is too expensive and would harm the environment. They want to protect the ice, wildlife, and local communities. This created a challenge for countries that want Greenland's resources. Even though the ice is melting and the resources are valuable, Greenland is not willing to give them away easily. But some world leaders have a different view. They see Greenland as a strategic prize, not just a frozen island. Power, trade, and natural resources are all at stake. So now Greenland is at the center of a growing global story. It is not just about what is on the surface. It is about what lies beneath and who will have the power to use it. This makes Greenland more than an icy island. It is a key piece in the game of global influence, combining energy, trade, and strategy. And the truth is, the world is only starting to realize how important it is. Greenland is no longer just a frozen island. It is now at the center of a global power struggle. Several countries see Greenland as extremely valuable. It is not only about the oil, gas, and minerals under the ice. It is also about its strategic location and control over the new Arctic shipping routes. The United States, which has a long history in Greenland, is watching closely. They have military bases there, and in recent years, they have spent billions upgrading them. Runways have been improved, radar and communications upgraded, and diplomatic offices reopened. The US wants to make sure it keeps influence in this key region. But America is not the only player. Russia's role. Russia has been rapidly expanding in the Arctic. It has built dozens of military bases along its northern coastline. They have deployed missiles, radar stations, and even planted a flag under the North Pole to signal its claim. Russia sees Greenland as part of the larger Arctic puzzle. They want control of the region, or at least influence, to protect their own interests. China's role. China, even though it is far from the Arctic, is also involved. It calls itself a near-Arctic nation and has invested billions of dollars in Arctic projects. This includes ports, shipping routes, and infrastructure connected to Greenland. China's main goal is trade and future access to resources, making the Arctic an extension of its global influence. The United States and Trump. During his presidency, Donald Trump made headlines by suggesting the United States could buy Greenland from Denmark. Many people laughed, thinking it was just another tweet. But the idea reflects a real strategy. Greenland is too important to ignore. For Trump, and for other leaders, Greenland is not just about natural resources. It is about power, security, and global influence. A country that controls Greenland can control trade routes, monitor rival nations, and access vast energy reserves. The problem of ownership. Here's the challenge: Greenland belongs to Denmark. The Greenlandic government is partly independent and has made it clear they do not want to sell. They also banned oil and gas exploration in 2021, prioritizing the environment over profit. So even though Greenland is extremely valuable, any plan to control it must consider politics and diplomacy, not just money. Audience engagement hook, 5 seconds. Would you let your country drill for oil in Greenland if it made you more powerful? Type yes or no in the comments. Strategic importance of Greenland. Even without buying it, Greenland is strategically critical. Its location allows countries to monitor air and sea traffic across the Arctic. It is also a potential military stronghold in the region. Control over Greenland means influence over global shipping and trade. And as the Arctic ice melts, Greenland's importance will only grow. Future of global power. The fight for Greenland is not just about one country. It is about several of the world's biggest powers positioning themselves for the future. The Arctic is rich in resources, new shipping lanes, and strategic locations. Countries that move first could secure decades of advantage. Greenland's value is clear in 3 ways. Resources: oil, gas, and rare minerals. Trade: new Arctic shipping routes that are faster and cheaper. Military and security: monitoring and influence in a rapidly changing part of the world. These factors combined make Greenland one of the most important regions on the planet today. What could happen next? No one knows for sure. Greenland is protected by Denmark and is largely independent, so an invasion is extremely unlikely. Most experts believe that diplomacy, investment, and influence will determine control. However, as ice continues to melt, the region becomes more accessible. Countries like the US, Russia, and China are likely to increase their presence in Greenland. They will continue to invest in military bases, research stations, and ports. Greenland will play a bigger role in trade, climate studies, and energy. Even if Greenland remains under Danish control, it will influence global politics and economics. Every ship, every plane, and every resource that moves through the Arctic could be affected by Greenland's strategic position. Ending hook. This brings us to the big question. Who will control Greenland in the next 10 or 20 years? It may not be a fight with guns or armies. It may be a battle of investment, diplomacy, and influence. But one thing is clear: Greenland is no longer a quiet, frozen island. It is the future of global power. And as the world watches, Greenland quietly waits under the ice, ready to decide the next chapter in global history. This was the story of Greenland, a frozen land once ignored, now at the center of a global struggle. Ice, power, and resources lie beneath its surface, shaping the future of trade, security, and influence. The question is not if Greenland matters, but who will control it next. Stay curious, because the story of this icy island is far from over.